And I am ecstatically joyful to be here with you today and to be able to share some of my thoughts and some of my meditations with you here on Got to Be Oshun Radio. We first want to begin, of course, by giving praise and honor to all of the forces that make it possible for us to be here. So we give praise and honor to Olodumare, who spreads all over the universe like a mat, the divine source from which we all emanate and which we all are as well. We give honor and praise to the totality of feminine force in the universe, the ancestral mothers who squatted and brought forth the all. We give honor and praise to our mothers, those wombs from which we come. We give honor and praise to our fathers, those who sired us. We give all praise and honor to our ancestors, those who died crossing the Middle Passage, those who remained on the continent of Africa, and those that were already here and on in the next hemisphere once the ones from Africa arrived. We give praise and honor to all of our righteous ancestors. We give praise and honor to all of those who have been initiated into the science of Orisha and who are about the business of creating the good condition on earth. We ask that they continue to be strengthened and continue to be guided. I give personal praise and honor to Ori, the highest part of myself, that part of myself that guided me into existence and that will guide me back to the womb of Earth Mother Onile once this particular lifetime is over. Thanks and praise to UNIOV Temple of Atlanta. Thanks and praise to ELO Shoshango Eniola, one of my spiritual teachers. Thanks and praise to Matahochi Kofi Omowale Zanu and Nochito Revi Zanu, my spiritual teachers, now honored ancestors. Thanks and praise to my mother, Lalita Fields Morgan, now an honored ancestor. My grandmothers, Nanny Mae Fields and Thelma Morgan, now honored ancestors. My great-grandmother, Westell Timmons Taylor, now honored ancestor. All thanks and praise to all of the forces that make it possible for us to be here. UNIOV Temple of Atlanta, Ile Tiwalade Temple of Atlanta, Oyotunji Village, South Carolina, Oba Oba Sejuman Adefuni the First, and the current Oba, Alaye Lua, I hope I pronounced that correct, of Oyotunji Village. Thanks and praise. All right. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Oh. Okay, today I'm going to jump right in because I think I'm probably going to have to do two shows on this topic just because there is a great deal of misunderstanding and there's a great deal of controversy surrounding this topic. So, what we are moving into today with no further delay and with no further introduction is the absolute necessity of ecstasy. And before I begin speaking, I do want to say that you will, beyond the shadow of any sort of reasonable doubt, hear the voices of my children in the background. Everything that I do, I'm blessed to be able to do it as a mother and while mothering. So I don't pretend that life is not going on while I'm in the midst of whatever I'm doing. So if you check my videos on YouTube, then you will see my babies. Here on my radio show, you will hear my babies. This is life. This is real life. It's not taking place in a studio. It's taking place in the actual world. So give thanks for reality and the beauties of that. Now let's move on to this topic of ecstasy. Move on to this topic of bliss and its necessity in our lives. The problem that I see as we are moving through the world today is that we have been indoctrinated into an extremely destructive mindset. And this mindset causes us to live life in the most destructive way possible. Destructive to ourselves, destructive to each other, and destructive to Earth Mother Onile herself and the very universe in which we are existing. This lifestyle is of supreme destruction, if there is such a thing. So what we have to do when we are about our healing, our own personal healing, or about the healing of others, or about the healing of Earth Mother, or the healing of the universe, which in actuality is all one thing. When we are about that, then we must work daily, minutely, hourly, and consciously to purge ourselves of this destructive mindset. So when people come to me and we do spiritual consultations or we do parenting consultations or holistic wellness consultations, this is the foundation of the work. Is purging yourself of this mindset and moving yourself back into a way of thinking that is part of reality and not this fallacy and this pretense that we've been taught that we should live in. So within this fallacy, one of the guiding principles is that life is about suffering, is that life is about hardship, and that life is about obstacles, and that in order to receive rewards, that you have to suffer, and that is your lot in life, and that is what it means to be a physical being, and that is what it means to be, born and to be alive. That is the foundation of the fallacy that the majority of us are operating and living our lives under. That's the foundation of it. Now, I don't want to be guilty of making it seem as though there are no obstacles in life, because of course there are obstacles, and the price of life is sacrifice. Okay, go in my bathroom. And so you will always have to give something of yourself in order to continue life and in order to help to continue the lives of those around you. So I'm not saying that those things are not necessary and that those things are not real. What I am saying is that the spark, the life force itself, is ecstasy. That is the life force. That is what gives us life. Each one of us that is born, each one of us that is given permission to be created, comes from an ecstatic moment. It is the moment of ecstasy that creates life. So it is that same ecstasy that is the life force, that keeps life going, that animates your physical self, and that propels you towards the fulfillment of your destiny. I will continue to say, and I will always say, the purpose of life is divinity. We are here to become divine. That is what we are here to do. We are here to return to the divine, to remember that we are divine, and to be divine. That is the purpose of life. Human beings become Orisha. Orisha are the forces of nature. If your mother gave birth to you in full, you will in turn give birth to her. So as we are walking through life, our goal is the fulfillment of our destiny. In order to fulfill that destiny, you have to embrace, and you have to not only embrace but totally and completely digest bliss and ecstasy. You have to understand and accept that what propels anyone forward in life is bliss and ecstasy. Let us look at the current setup that we're living in. The current setup teaches us that you must know these specific facts and you must do these specific things in order to get a good job. And so we are set up to believe that the reason for living life is the acquisition of money, which will then allow us to acquire things. How are we able to be pushed to continue to do this, which is simply slavery? We work for a very, very small group of people, and they reap the rewards of our hard labor. So that little small group of people that are on top of the wage slavery pyramid in the West, that's who most of us are working for. They are reaping a great deal of the rewards. We're only reaping a little trickle of the rewards. But how are we able to be kept in this position? It's because we're being propelled by our bliss. But we're being taught what our bliss is. We're being taught what you want is to buy this television. What you want is to drive this car. What you want is to wear these particular clothes. So when someone tells you what your desires are, then they can also control what you will do to obtain those particular things that are desired. If left alone, or when left alone, a human being has pure, good, and divine desires. When not being indoctrinated by capitalism and consumerism, Every human being has good, pure, and divine desires. Anyone that you see whose desires are other than good and pure and divine, they are being brainwashed and indoctrinated, and they have also more than likely suffered from some past abuse and some hurt that they have not dealt with and that they have not healed from. But in our purest form, in our true form, the desires of human beings are pure and good and divine. And these are what lead us toward the fulfillment of our destiny. This is, ecstasy is the guiding force in your life. It's what's leading you. It's what's guiding you right now. There's no denial of that. It's just that you are being told what's going to make you blissful. You're not deciding for yourself. You're allowing someone else to decide for you that this is going to make you blissful. So let's take a step back. Let's pull ourselves in. What would your life look like if you could have it any way you want it? I am blessed to have wonderful, wonderful, powerful sister friends in my circle. One sister friend that I have in my circle is Cynthia C. Harris of Healing Waters Productions. Check her out at healingwatersproductions.com. She's a magnificent playwright. She is a healer, a born healer, and she works specifically in the area of healing women from hurts and abuse that the majority of us are suffering due to this patriarchal society. And so this phrase comes straight from the mind, the heart, and the ori of Cynthia C. Harris of Healing Waters Productions. What would it look like if you could have it any way you wanted? What would your life look like? What would it smell like? What would it taste like? What would it be if you could have it any way you wanted? Because the truth of the universe is you can. And that is what you came here to do. Everything else is an illusion. Anything else that you're doing is an illusion. But those pure, primal, natural desires that you've had from the time that you became conscious of yourself as a separate being from your mother, you can have all of those. All of those are your birthright. That is your ori pulling you towards the fulfillment of your destiny. Life is a sensuous experience. Life is intended to be blissful. Go outside, go into the real world and tell me what you see and hear and feel and smell when you're in the real world. Not in a created world, not in the world that is a part of the fallacy that we're supposed to be living. But go into the woods, go to the ocean, go to your nearest river or creek or stream. Tell me what you hear and see and feel. The ancestral mothers set it up so that we would be in bliss at every moment. The sounds of life are blissful. The smells of life are blissful. The taste, the things that you touch. Walk barefoot on the grass. That is a blissful moment. That is an ecstatic moment. This is what life is intended to be. It is a sensual experience. It is a sensual journey, and it's guided by your ecstasy. Your ecstasy should be guiding you. Your desires should be guiding you, and there's nothing wrong with that. Your desires are not bad. The universe intends for you to have everything that you desire. And just as excited as you are when you obtain those things that are naturally and purely desired, the universe is 10,000 times more excited. Realize, understand, and accept that the Great Mother wants you to have everything that you want to have. And as you take one step towards your purest desires, the Great Mother will then guide you towards them and push you towards them with 20 or 30 more steps and propel you with the energy that you need. Ecstasy and bliss are good. Ecstasy and bliss are your birthright. You are not here to suffer. You are not here to be constantly in a state of battle. That's not the natural state of life. There is nothing wrong with feeling good. There is nothing wrong with being blissful. There is nothing wrong with ecstasy. As a matter of fact, all of those states are divine states. All of those states are states of higher consciousness. When you allow yourself to fully embrace your bliss and your ecstasy, you are in your highest state. You are being your highest self when you embrace your bliss and your ecstasy. Now, this brings us, of course, there's no way that as adults we can speak about this and leave out thoughts about sexuality and whether or not that is okay. When you are in a society that is sexually repressed, and that is Western society is sexually repressed. Western society suffers from the psychosexual maladjustment of the European male. This is the pallor that falls over Western society as far as sexuality is concerned. This is why we are not supposed to enjoy ourselves as far as sexuality is concerned. So let's deal with that topic a little bit. The topic of sexuality, and is it okay? Is it all right to feel blissful? Is it okay to feel ecstatic? It is not only okay, but it is divine. Whatever it is that brings you bliss and ecstasy is divine. It is what you are supposed to have. Be that in a sexual form, be that in the form of what you eat, be that in the form of conversations that you have, be that in the form of your meditation, or just being out on and in Earth Mother Onile and enjoying her. Most of the things that we're doing, most of the things that the majority of us are experiencing, we're experiencing because someone is telling us that's what we want. Unplug. I would say give yourself a 7 to 10 day unplugging. No television, no internet, no listening to anything that is not uplifting and that is not healing and that is not good. And at the end of that 10 days, what are your desires? What do you want to do? What do you want to see? What do you want to hear? What would you yourself, what actions would you like to be engaging in? Because only when you unplug yourself from the horrors and evils of consumerism and capitalism will you be able to hear your own inner voice. Prior to that, you're listening to the voice of someone else, and it's telling you what to think, what to do, what to be, who to love, and who not to love. It's giving you all of these kinds of strictures on what you actually feel. So you don't know most of the time what your inner voice sounds like. In addition to that, you're putting unnatural items in your body because you're being told that they're food. And these unnatural items cause unnatural desires. So you don't know what your voice sounds like. You don't know what it feels like to be in your body. You don't know what it feels like to interact with other individuals as a human being. Unplug, detox. Put things, only things in your body that are completely pure as you can possibly get them. Then see what your thoughts are. Then see what your feelings are. Then see what your actions are towards those around you. And after you do that, and as you begin to live life that way, you will gain the understanding that life is blissful, life is ecstatic, life is beautiful, life is naturally fun, and it's naturally orgasmic. And it's okay to feel all of those feelings. The sexual repression, let me get back to that so that I can cover that. I don't want to have missed the point that we deal with in Western society comes, like I said, from the psychosexual maladjustment of the European male. And when you evolve, when your culture evolves in a space of scarcity, European culture evolved within the Worm 2 Ice Age. And that was a space and a time of scarcity. When your culture evolves in a space and a time of scarcity, you don't embrace childbirth. You don't embrace child rearing. You don't embrace pregnancy. And whenever you're not embracing those things, you're not embracing life. If you have a culture that does not embrace those states, obviously this culture is anti-life. And so as Western culture does not embrace those states, we can see clearly that Western culture is anti-life. But it's because it evolved in this space of scarcity. And so when a baby was born or when life was being recreated, then all that one was able to think about was, you know, this is another mouth to feed, this is someone else that we have to take care of, as opposed to being able to completely revel in the beauty of life and the abundance of life. So this is why we have such a different view of life. The natural, normal, majority people view of life is so different from the European view or the Western view of life. In that particular view, women are seen as evil. Women are seen as the bringers of evil because we are the bringers of life. So with that particular state of thinking or mindset going on, then you have to paint sexuality as something wicked and as something evil. But how can it be evil when it is responsible for bringing life? There's no way that it can be evil. If it was evil, then it wouldn't be given the stamp of approval for existence by Olodumare and by the Womaniverse. As I said before, life is always right. Life is supremely right. Regardless of what we want to think or feel, life is definitely correct. So, in suffering from that, then what we have and what we are dealing with is mainly patriarchal, the patriarchal view of womanhood and therefore the patriarchal view of sexuality. And how this impacts us is that we are taught that sexuality is bad, that ecstasy is bad, and those things that make you feel good must be coming from some sort of source of evil. But these things over here that we are told that make us feel good, that actually destroy our lives and destroy ourselves and destroy the earth, these things are good. But the natural urges that you have that come from your body, that come from your mind, that come from your ori, are evil and are being placed inside you by some, giant architect of evil. That is what is taught to us as far as our sexuality is concerned, as far as bliss and ecstasy are concerned. And this, as I said about all things that come from that source, is hogwash. It's not real, it's not realistic, it's not based in reality. How can what makes you feel good be wicked and be evil? It's not possible. And I'm going to keep saying this because I don't want what I'm saying to be misconstrued and to be used for purposes that are not positive. Natural, pure desires coming from a person who is pure and who is working and to be as natural as possible are always good, are always inherently good. If your desires are leading you towards hurting someone else, it's not a natural desire. If a desire is leading you towards the abuse of someone else, it's not a natural desire. If your desire is leading you towards the control of someone else and the domination over someone else, that's not a natural desire. So anything along those veins, you are being fed that and you are being taught that. And that's being put into your mind either by the food actually by the food that you're eating, by the things that you're watching, by the things that you're hearing, the company that you keep, and the vibration that you've surrounded yourself with. That's where these unnatural desires come from. We're living in a day and time where we are being molded to believe that unnatural desires are normal. But when you cleanse yourself, when you heal yourself, and when you unplug from the consumeristic machine, you'll be able to see that they're not. And you'll also be able to revel in your actual natural desires. So why is ecstasy a necessity? Ecstasy is a necessity because ecstasy is the life force. Ecstasy is what brought you forward, and ecstasy is what will propel you forward. The more ecstatic energy, the more blissful energy, the more orgasmic energy that you surround yourself with, the more peaceful life you'll have, the happier you'll be, and the more successful you will be. And success means to be moving towards the fulfillment of your destiny. People who are fulfilling their destiny have surrounded themselves with orgasmic energy. Does that mean sexual orgasm? Yes, it does. Does that mean orgasms that come when you eat life-filled food that fills you with bliss? Yes, it does. That also means orgasmic conversations that you have with other people who are uplifted and who are full of love. That also means orgasmic sights that you see when you open your window or when you go outside or when you're dealing with your family and your loved ones. Those sights are orgasmic. Those feelings are orgasmic. It means all of that. Surround yourself in that energy. Do you have to have a partner to surround yourself in that energy? We grown people, right? Of course you don't. A partner is not required, even for the surrounding of yourself in sexually orgasmic energy. Take control and take responsibility for your own life. In doing so, surround yourself, take control and take responsibility for surrounding yourself in orgasmic energy. The beginning of any love and all love is self-love. If you're not loving yourself, if you are not deeply and blissfully and ecstatically and intensely in love with yourself, the only thing that you can give to someone else is either dependency or these expectations that this person will be able to validate you. You can be obsessed with someone else. You can lust after someone else. But if you are not deeply in love with yourself, you cannot love anyone else. So yes, love yourself on all levels. Love yourself deeply and intensely sexually. Yes, do that. Create a force field of orgasmic energy around yourself. It is protective. Love yourself on all levels. Make sure that your home and your space, the space that you occupy, looks like, smells like, tastes like, feels like, and sounds like all of those things that bring you bliss. Do not enter into any relationship that is not completely blissful and orgasmic for you. Do not stay in any relationship that's not completely blissful and orgasmic for you. Surround yourself with that blissful energy. Surround yourself with the energy of ecstasy. This is what propels you towards fulfillment of your destiny. This is what attracts your destiny to you. This is how to seduce life, because that's what you are here to do. That's what you should be doing. The way that you would seduce a would-be lover or a would-be suitor, you are supposed to be doing that for life itself. Western society has taught us that all of that energy of seduction, that energy of ecstasy, is to be placed in just one realm. But this is the purest energy of life. It doesn't have to be placed in one realm. It is for the totality and the entirety of life. All right. I feel like I was rambling, but I hope that the points got through. I'm glad to see my 3 callers that called in to listen in, and I pray that the rest of you guys will call in and hear it on the recording. Look forward to talking to you next week, this same time, and we'll go into more depth with this particular topic because I didn't get to cover it fully. Peace, love, ecstasy, abundance, and bliss to all. We're going to go out with saying how we approve of ourselves and love ourselves.